accidental emission of air contaminants to impact the weather. The current law does not address the topic. This bill should prohibit any means of attempting to affect the weather, temperature, climate, intensity of sunlight, moisture, etc. There is an amendment that will be withdrawn. So the bill, as it stands now, with the concerns, there will be an amendment on the floor to address the concerns from our airports as well as the agricultural community. So this bill essentially puts a moratorium on the emission, ejection, release, or dispersion of chemicals that would be able to affect moisture, sunlight, or anything pertaining to the environment.
Okay, are there any further comments on the bill from the committee? Representative Kresick?
Well, I have a question. Would you yield to a question?
Yeah.
Okay. We ran this bill last year, and the Senate did not take it up. So why are we running this again? I'm not figuring that out.
This bill, though similar, it's different from last year's. The Senate had their own version of this bill in their chamber, which was a little bit more too broad and also included, shooting down planes in case they were dispersing anything in the atmosphere. This is more or less focusing on the companies that use drones to disperse silver iodide into the atmosphere to be able to collect moisture, similar to what they do in North Dakota, Utah, Idaho, Oregon, Texas. Since there's nothing in code right now that says they can't do it or that they can, since it's just this gray area about who's responsible in case if somebody should disperse chemicals into the atmosphere to cause moisture to drop. This puts a moratorium on that. So if somebody does want to do something like this for $350,000, that would then at least they have to come to the state to suggest that we would like to do this, and then it opens the door.
Okay, are there any other comments?
I have one.
Representative Madison?
There is so much else that we could do. The water's polluted, that we could actually get a hold on and make some results. This is more of wishful thinking, and how are we going to, it's almost, I wouldn't say manufactured, but how do you capture whatever somebody might be putting in the atmosphere? Clouds dispersed, what would you do? How is this going to help?
Essentially, let's just put a moratorium on the process. And this was brought up before in discussion about originally section 1 of the bill would be, for at airports, for people that if they see any of this activity that they would report it, but then it puts too much pressure on airports and a lot of them are unmanned. So it essentially comes down to somebody willingly reporting in case they should see this process happening. But at least it puts a little bit of process there to prevent this from happening, even though there is no evidence that it is currently happening in Iowa now, but in the states surrounding us, as well as the possibility of, North Dakota is doing this process. If North Dakota is cloud seeding, does the moisture that they take up, is the moisture that they create, is that, robbing Peter to pay Paul and causing the snowpack in Utah that we used before, going along the jet stream, does that impact the moisture that is in North Dakota as well as in Iowa?
And in various places, they need the water. So the seeding is more of a help to the community because it's so dry. So I think we delve into areas that we don't know the full scope of what they're doing with seeding, and then say, well, they can't do any seeding here. Sometimes it's advantageous to the community and to the state.
I do see your point. However, the way that it is now in code, there's nothing to cover it. So much rather create a baseline that then we can move forward and, permits, licenses, insurance, because of, let's say, what happened down in Texas with the Little Girl Pony Farm. If the CEO of a company that does perform cloud seeding did say that the process had been performed down there, however, they were not responsible for the flood. However, if they did something 3 days before, it correlates, that doesn't mean it caused AIDS. So if we put a guardrail in now, we'll be able to at least come back to it later in case we need to do this, like help with drought or any of that.
Okay, are there any further comments on the bill? Seeing none, Chair recognizes Representative Lindgren for closing comments on House File 2173.
Well, I would like to thank the sub. I'd like to thank Craig especially for riding along with me on this for 2 years now. like I said, it's more or less to put a guardrail in. We can always modify this later on. And I'd like to move the bill.
Okay, Representative Glenn moves the bill, House File 2173. Clerk will call the roll.
Representative Fisher,
Aye.
Representative Gearhold,
Aye.
Representative Madison, Representative Brown Powers, Representative Crokin,
No.
Representative Deacon,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Aye.
Representative Kresick,
No.
Representative Sitzman,
Aye.
Representative Watkins,
Aye.
Representative Wingren,
Aye.
Representative Williams,
Aye.
Representative Wills.
Aye.
9 ayes, 4 no, 4 excused.
Okay, with 9 to the floor, the bill passes. And is there any further business to come before the committee? Representative Kresick?
Yes, Representative Fisher asked a question to you. Is this the only bill we're running this year in this committee?
Don't know what the Senate will send over, if we have something.
So we're not doing anything in the House?
No, nothing from the House side.
Why does this committee even meet then? Can you answer that to me?
That's not for me to decide. I'm saying the chair of this
Well,
committee.
you think about environmental protection, we've got a lot of work we should be focused on.
Representative Kresick, we're not here to debate whether or not this committee should exist or what other bills we're doing.
Well, it's a question to you.
You're out of order, Representative Kresick.
Okay.
Meeting is adjourned.
Anyway.